Hello and welcome to the show. I am here on Forza 6 with one of the new cars from the latest DLC, the Alfa Romeo P3, the oldest car to feature in Forza, I think the oldest car ever to feature in Forza. And I'm going to be maxing this vehicle out for a silly car build and seeing how it fares in the wet. I suspect it'll be nigh on uncontrollable, but let's go and find out. Of course, we can't be doing any engine swapping with the vehicle. As much as I'd love to put a 1,000 horsepower engine in this, we can't. Sadly, we can, however, put some lovely race tyres. Look at how skinny the wheels are. They are full-on bicycle wheels, 125s on the front. It goes up to 205s. I mean, it's better than it was. Still not very good. Not for what I suspect is going to be the amount of horsepower and lack of grip, really, we're going to have. 215s on the rear, so probably got the smallest tyres all around. Admittedly, it is quite light. However, that can often cause... some other issues. While you might get away at sort of lower powers with tiny tyres and so on, when you start getting high powers and very light cars, they often get very twitchy, as we have seen with the likes of the Lotus 11, Maserati Birdcage, and so on. This is not going to be quite as light as the Lotus, no, but it's still going to be very light. I have no idea how much power we're going to get out of this. Absolutely no idea. The brakes are, I suspect, not going to be very good. Again, it is a light vehicle, which helps a bit, but it's got some very old brakes, so we might have some issues. It looks kind of peculiar when it's so low down compared to where it would normally be. And that's, some bits of that are quite low to the ground there. We will go with some race front and rear anti-roll bars, of course. The roll cage will add in some weight, probably not going to be very much in this car, and add in some chassis rigidity to try and help with steering. Yeah, it's sort of 60, 70 pounds-ish in weight there. Now to the power bits. It comes with 285 horsepower. I had no idea what we're going to end up with. We can get sort of 700-800 horsepower out of this. It would be quite impressive. I believe this has got a straight 8 engine, if I remember reading correctly. And I think it has... I know it's supercharged. I think it's supposed to be twin supercharged. So it's, potentially quite a crazy engine. Really, in this one, we're up to 470 horsepower. Remember the size of the tiny tyres on this, the age of the chassis and suspension. We're going to be taking it, now we're up to almost 500 horsepower, around a very, very wet circuit. This could become the slidiest vehicle I have ever driven on. It could replace the Ferrari 375 as being the most terrifyingly difficult oversteery vehicle there is to drive. 589 horsepower with that upgrade, 518 foot-pounds of torque. Okay, come on, supercharger. Big power numbers. Not really. Unfortunately, 632 horsepower, 556 foot-pounds of torque. It will probably be the least powerful vehicle I've had in a silly car build. I would not at all be surprised to see this at the bottom of the table. It's going, I suspect at least, it's only a suspicion, but I think this could be quite terrifying to drive. Well, that is the car built. No aero, no options for me to put it on, so it's going to be the only car running without Forza aero parts, so we're going to have no downforce. This is going to be a handful. So, of course, to test out the Alfa Romeo, we have come to the Brands Hatch Indy Circuit, where it will get 6 laps to go as fast as possible. Our current leader is the Porsche Carrera GT, with a lap time of 49.3. We're not going to be really worrying about the Porsche. There is not a hope in hell that the Alfa is going to be getting near that time. Perhaps the main rival for the Alfa is try and beat the Aztec. We can't let a classic racing Alfa Romeo be beaten by a Pontiac Aztec, and for that we're looking at a 56.6 second lap time, which could be quite difficult if we've got an unfathomably uncontrollable Alfa Romeo already. Yeah, it wants to go sideways, this car. As you can perhaps expect, in fact, it doesn't really it just that's all it wants to do. It just wants to be sideways around all of these corners. Will we find some grip? You know, I have had worse cars, I think, for traction. I will give it credit where it is due. We can get to full throttle. It's not without wheel spin, but we can do it a lot more controllably. Admittedly, we're going nowhere near as fast as the likes of the birdcage and so on, but we can get to full throttle. This lap has just been sideways everywhere. Oh, crap, we're going to do it again around here. I think more caution might be needed. It's quite good fun, and it's surprisingly controllable. Doing all of that was not good. Oh, that bit there catches everything out, and this Alfa is no exception. Despite that, it's still 130. So the Lancia race car was flat out around the final turn. It was about 140 miles an hour as it came across the line. It was doing about 140 miles an hour, sorry, by the braking zone. That's as quick as the Lancia would get. This thing, I was sideways and fighting the car, and eventually got to full throttle about where the start-finish line is, and it still got to about 130. That's good going, straight line speed-wise. It really is from the Alfa. The brakes aren't as terrible. Oh, third gear is really nice. Third gear is so long that it really helps me out here, because I can just stick it in third and we will be able to fight. We can just boot it at full throttle in third because there's such a long gear. It will find traction. Admittedly, by the time it does kind of get up to speed, then we do get more wheel spin. But it's quite useful for getting out of some of the corners potentially. Again, we are full throttle there. Fourth gear, we are 145. I daren't brake any later because I don't trust the brakes on this car. We've beaten the Aztec, it's fine. We can all rest easy. The classic Alfa Romeo will not be humiliated by a terrible, terrible Pontiac. So we're okay. We're okay with that one. Oh no. Yeah, I think we're resorting to being sideways again, aren't we? Yeah, it's just the... Oh no, that curb's bad. The curbs are bad. It's... I've got to say, it is relatively controllable when it's... I mean, this is me we're talking about. And it is relatively controllable as it's slithering its way around this very wet circuit. Was it designed... Was this how the Alfa was designed to take corners? I think it was. Is this how they race these classic Grand Prix cars? It's just... It really is. It just wants to slide everywhere. I think it's easier than the RX-3 when it comes to just sort of effortlessly sliding with far too much power. Oh, okay, that bit there was a little bit scary. I don't think we like the bumps so much. I've got to stop. I've got to stop. We've got to go for serious lap times. The problem is the Alfa does not really do that sort of thing. In fact, second gear we can get to full throttle as we kind of come up the hill there. You know, I really thought this was going to be a lot more of a handful. It actually isn't that bad. It's, yeah, not quite what I was expecting. I thought it was going to be completely leery, out of control, sliding, not getting stopped at all. I mean, yeah, the brakes aren't particularly good, and yes, it slides around an awful, awful lot, but it's very controllable with its sliding. I think perhaps helped by the fact that it has... And I say this has only got 640-ish horsepower, when a lot of the cars here have had 800-900 horsepower. So there is less power in this, but it's such an old car with terrible, terrible brakes. 54.6, despite the lap being very, very sideways. Oh, first gear was not good through there. First gear was not at all good through turn. Let's not do that next time around. I don't know how I found a second. That lap there wasn't particular. I didn't think it was particularly good. Around there. Right, okay. We're still amazingly been pointing in the right direction the entire way around here. Yeah, it's really not too bad a driving car. I'm not sure it's going to be breaking any records. Oh, I buggered that one up. That was my bad. That was my stupid. We're going to put a priceless Alfa in the wall. Yeah, I stuck a wheel on the grass. As soon as you do that, you can very rarely... I have got away with it in a couple of cars. It's very rare that you can, though. Normally, that's exactly what happens, and in a car like this, it's not surprising. You put that rear wheel on the grass, you're going to lose all grip, and it's just going to go straight, essentially, which it did into the wall. That was a really nasty snap there. Could have done without that as we come on to the final lap for the Alfa Romeo. Right, no sideways silliness. I know the car wants to do it. Oh, crap. No. Bad things are happening. Very bad things are happening. We're going incredibly wide there. it snaps on you and the back end lets go, and then there's just nothing you can do, especially when you get that wheel on the grass. That one was better saved than the than down here. We got away with it a little bit better. We're on about equal footing at lap time wise. We have actually seen that going wide out of turn 2 sometimes you can get kind of a better run out of the corner, taking a very late apex. Can actually work with some of these cars. Somehow we managed to fight the vehicle and get it stopped. Now can we get the power down coming onto this straight? Yes, we can. We're to full throttle. It is across the line. We've gone quicker again. We found so much time in that last sector. 53.7. 53.7. That's far faster than I was expecting from this car. I will be honest, and you know, credit to the Alfa. It's silly. It is about the most oversteery but controllably oversteery thing that I've driven, although not when you're dicking around like so. When you're actually trying to race it and so on, it's quite impressive, really. This car. Oh no, we're not going to get back up the hill, are we? Yeah, it's really quite impressive. I've got to say, I was expecting it to be horrendous, but no, the Alfa is. Yeah, that's quite good fun. It is quite fun. It's quite a lively car. Good acceleration eventually, and traction problems are there, of course. Long gear ratios certainly help it out. Anyway, it's lap time. Well, it does go down towards the bottom of the table. That's to be expected. However, it beats the Plymouth Fury. It goes into 19th place. It's a tenth of a second quicker than the Fury. It beats the Lancia Stratos, beats the Porsche 356, beats the VW Campervan. It is a little bit down on the 73 Skyline and the Challenger Hellcat and so on, but it's, you know, it's not too far. It's second down on the Mazda RX-3. And considering the age of this car and so on, I'd say that that's a pretty damn good showing, really, from this vehicle. It's a lot of fun. It's an awful lot of fun to go driving with. Anyway, it is now time to see how quick this crazy Alfa will go in a straight line. And of course, to test out the Alfa's straight line speed, we have come to the Le Mans circuit. Now, there's no aero on the car, so that can't be changed. I don't know what we're going to quite get with the gearbox, so we didn't upgrade it. And that would explain why third gear is so long. We only got 3 gears. Can we do anything more? Could we perhaps crack 200 miles? Apparently so. Keep going! How many miles an hour could we get out of this thing? 213. Okay. 213 is what we're going to get into, I suspect, third, and we're not going to have very much go for a while. Yeah, they are very long gear ratios, but we will give it a go and see what the crazy Alfa can manage. Oh, that is a large amount. I wonder how far. The Skyline has the record, I think, for the longest kind of burnout. That pretty much burnt out most of the way down the straight. This, I don't think it's quite going to manage that, but technically the Volvo burnt out the entire way down the straight, but that's front-wheel drive cars for you. Oh dear, we've had a little bit of a twitchy moment across there. I think that perhaps this car might be worse to drive in the dry in some respects, because in the wet there's just less grip, so the car's less likely to get twitchy on you, whereas out here, if it starts sliding when it's in the dry, it can suddenly find grip and throw you at a wall, especially when you're driving with the simulation steering. So, yeah, that is peculiar. All those bumps are not happy. The bumps may be problematic here, I will be honest. We could have a very, very poorly Alfa by the time we get to the end of the straight. When we go around that king, who knows what might occur with this car. Probably shouldn't have put it. I kind of just automatically put it up a gear, not really thinking, but there we go. Oh, that's a corner apparently. I don't think I've ever had a problem there. No, tell a lie, the Porsche 365 had a problem. Holy crap, we're going! We're at 208 miles an hour. 210, come on, car! 211. I think we've perhaps run out. This is kind of where we've run out of power. We just don't have the power to keep going. It's 210, 11, come on! 212. We flicked to it briefly. We're starting going uphill again. Come on! We want 213 if we can. 211. I'm trying to touch the steering as little as I can. Come on, one more again. Can we get 212? There we go. 212 briefly. Right. Incoming flying Alfa Romeo. Oh, very sideways Alfa Romeo. No. Okay. We survived the corner flat out. Didn't even have to lift. There's a little bit of movement, but we didn't have to lift. And now brake. and we're going to get stopped relatively safely. Well, 212 miles an hour is not bad for the the oldest car in the game. I would say that is pretty damn good going, and it survived the bumps. It was a little bit unhappy getting to the to the straight, but it survived the bumps on the straight remarkably well. This surprised me. I was expecting it to be awful, to be uncontrollable, and it isn't. It really isn't. Yes, it is quite difficult to drive, most definitely difficult to drive. However, it is, not completely undrivable. Well, the straight line speed, that 212, again, it's going to be down the bottom. It's got half the horsepower of some of the fastest cars. However, 212 will put it into 21st place. It is a little bit down on the Plymouth Fury and the Mazda RX-3. However, it does beat the Fiat 595, beats the Willys Jeep and the Volkswagen Campervan. Most importantly, of course, the Alfa has not been embarrassed by the Aztec. The Aztec still remains firmly at the bottom of both of the leaderboards. So there we go. That is it for this video, guys. I love having these crazy, I say slightly obscure, but classic vehicles and so on to play about with in Forza. So I was very excited to have a go with this car, and it is great fun. I highly recommend this DLC, actually. There's a whole bunch of really interesting cars in here. That's it from me, though. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.